no, no. No, 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 no.
Hey y'all, this is the Pleasure and Peace Practice, and I'm your host, Tia, your Pleasure and Peace practitioner. For those of you who may be new here, welcome. This is a space where your pleasure is not optional and your peace is sacred. Each episode, we explore things that are real, raw, and I hope restorative. Through honest conversation, evidence-based practice, and an abundance of permission, I encourage you to feel good. Whether you're here to reconnect with your body, unlearn harmful shame, or just take a breath, you belong here. Welcome in. I'm especially excited about today's episode because it speaks to how I believe all of us deserve to relate to our bodies, not as a burden, not as a cage, but as a home and a key. In our society, we're taught to disconnect from our bodies and our deeper selves. That disconnection is shaped by so many forces: media, religion, trauma, diet culture, racism, gender roles, perfectionism. I could go on, but I'm sure you catch my drift. We receive these messages early and often, especially as women. Cover up, be smaller, don't want too much. These phrases may sound like they're promoting modesty or virtue, but often they're rooted in control. In fact, the messaging that says your body is sacred, so hide it, is especially common in strict religious communities. As a Black woman from the American South, it's impossible for me to talk about sexual or self-repression without talking, at least in part, about religion. When I was growing up, I heard phrases like, "Don't cast your pearls before swine," which, as I now understand it, placed the burden on me, a young girl, rather than on boys or men to take responsibility for their own behavior. The idea that girls should quote unquote want less or be less visible is a product of patriarchy. And that's a whole episode by itself. But for now, I trust that we're on the same page. When I talk about reconnecting to the body, I'm also talking about reclaiming agency and ownership. Messages like be smaller and don't distract others are often wrapped in virtue. But let's call them what they really are: tools of suppression. Whether through fat phobia or patriarchal norms, we're taught to shrink ourselves, not just physically, but emotionally and sexually. That shrinking is not selfless, it's harmful. It's a quiet kind of violence to never think of yourself first. It is not noble to disappear from your own, especially when these expectations are disproportionately placed on women in service of others. All of this leads to numbness, shame, hiding. We learn to reject our bodies, deny ourselves joy, and force ourselves into molds that were never made for us. To speak plainly, I know women, friends, clients who have never looked at their clitoris face to face. They've never felt an orgasm. They've never explored what they want. I want to be clear. This is not just about sex. It's about pleasure and embodiment in all areas of life. As you know from a previous episode, pleasure and sex are not one and the same, not necessarily. How many people listening right now know someone or are someone who puts everyone else's needs first? So much so that when asked, "What brings you joy?" they go blank. How many people take pride in never taking a break, would work through a vacation? How many of us have built our identities entirely around our job or our families or anything external? So that if we had to describe ourselves without naming any of these external things, we'd have nothing to say. When we disconnect from our bodies, we disconnect from ourselves. And this shows up in so many ways. We were taught to control our bodies, ignore our bodies, endure our bodies. So many of us were not taught to value our bodies or to trust them. But our body, your body, is a place of wisdom, of sensation, of truth and joy. When we reclaim it and come back home to ourselves, we open the door to more fulfilling lives. People often ask me how I came to be so fully myself. And the short answer is I am still becoming her. But for the person that I am now, I was very fortunate. I grew up watching women in my life be fully themselves. I had an auntie who always had a boyfriend because, in her words, I am old, I'm not dead. She used a vibrator well into her 80s. She read steamy romance novels, which I had the privilege of picking up from her library when we would go visit. She loved her body, and we all knew it. I have a mother who bought me exclusively black Barbies. She let me watch, well, I could only watch The Black Cinderella with Brandy and Whitney Houston. She introduced me to India Arie. She told me I was beautiful, even when I was struggling with my body. Skinny, hairy, wearing bright blue glasses as a young black girl in the South. These women showed me what it looked like to honor your body. I know not everyone has that privilege. I did, and I carry that forward with me in this work. I understand how important it is to have people around you honor themselves. It gives you the courage to honor yourself too. Loving your body is not a destination, it's a daily practice. Our bodies change, our lives change. Our relationship to ourself shifts over time. I remember being at a workshop a while ago with an incredible person named Davita Galloway, and she said something that stuck with me. My body is fine, it's all mine, and you don't have to worry about it. That's right. She's very right. That's truth. Your body is yours. Your fat, your hair, your scent, your softness, your scars, every single part of you that someone else has tried to tell you was too much or not enough is all yours. And you are every good thing. For those of you that might be on a spiritual path, I want to offer you this line from Somadana, which is a novel by the incomparable Akwaeke Mezi. The quote goes, "You belong to yourself before you belong to Allah." You choose to give yourself to your higher power. But to make that choice, you must first belong to you. Whether you're religious, spiritual, secular, you are yours. What does it mean to be yours? What is embodiment? To be embodied means to feel and know yourself from the inside out. It means you trust your intuition. You know what feels good instead of just performing what you believe is expected of you. You're fully alive, not just functioning. And no, you don't have to feel embodied all the time. We all have our inner critics. We all have hard days. But embodiment is a practice of grace. If you're wondering where to begin, I want you to try this. Dress your body in clothes that feel good. Move joyfully. Dance, skate, stretch, walk, have sex, nap. The goal is not to fix your body, but to be with it. Each day this week, maybe practice standing in front of the mirror. Really look at yourself. Find one thing that you love. And if you can't find anything that day, offer yourself some compassion instead. If you're able, gently touch the parts of you that you struggle with. Try this affirmation. Even the parts of me that I struggle to love are worthy of care. Healing is something we feel. Pleasure is something that we sense. I want to ask you, what is one way that you can honor your body today? Not as a project to fix, but as a sacred, complete place to live. Right. Now it's time for our anonymous segment, Whisper in My Ear, which is a space for your questions, curiosities, and confessions. There's no shame, there's no judgment, just real talk and truth. For today, someone submitted the following comment. There isn't a lot of information about when to start preparing for perimenopause and how it affects our sexual life. It would be wonderful to see more coverage on this topic. First of all, thank you for this. You're absolutely right. Our society does a terrible job of preparing people, especially women, for abundant and fulfilling sexual lives later in life. The assumption that desire vanishes to childbearing years is a myth rooted in misinformation and ageism. This question deserves more than a quick mention. So, in the next episode, we're going to dedicate the entire conversation to this topic: what to expect, how to prepare, and how to thrive. But for now, I want to offer a journal exercise you can try. So, first things first, I encourage you to write a letter that starts with the phrase, "There's something I've been wanting to share with you about how I've been feeling." In that letter, include what's been hard, what you missed, and what you hope for. You don't have to send it. Writing is an act of self-honoring. If you'd like, you can submit it anonymously for future episodes. That's all for today. Until next time, I'm Tia, your pleasure and peace practitioner, reminding you that your body is wise, you're already whole, and you don't have to earn your belonging. Talk to y'all soon. Thank you for being here, for listening, for getting curious with me. Whether it's a question, a story, or a truth, still finding words, this space is for you. Whatever it is, you don't have to hold it alone. Ask, share, confess. We're in this together. And if you've got something on your heart, drop it anonymously using the link in the show notes or over on Instagram. If this episode moved you, helped you, or made you feel seen, share it with a friend, leave a rating, or drop a comment. Your support helps this space grow. Follow me on Instagram and Threads at Pleasure and Peace with Tia for more. Until next time, remember, I've got you and you've got this. Talk to y'all soon.